It is 7:06 p.m. and we call this meeting of the Elgin Independent School District to order. I'd like to announce that there is a quorum of the board present, that this meeting has been posted, duly called in the time and manner required by law. And it's time we shall recite the Pledge of Allegiance.
Of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Next item, public comment. There is none. And before we vote on the next item, I want to make sure, just housekeeping things, two things. Make sure that your mic is on, please. And when we're getting ready to vote, because maybe we missed some people, so not only do I want you to verbally say your vote, but please raise your hand as well. So we want to make sure that everybody's covered. That makes sense? So now we're being asked to approve the minutes of the June 16, 2025 board workshop and regular meetings and the June 24th, 2025 special meeting. Motion by Mrs. Reese.
Second.
Second by Mr. Moss. Any question? All in favor said motion respond by aye.
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 Any opposers? Motion passes 7-0. Next item, recognitions.
Good evening, President Mitchell, Dr. Ritter, members of the board. My name is Al Rodriguez. I'm your Executive Director for Communications and Community Engagement. Tonight we have two recognitions. The first of which is our community recognition. I'd like to ask our volunteers for Western Days to come up over here to stage left, I guess. You know, when I was asked to put this together, I was a little concerned about getting student volunteers simply because students want to sleep during the summer. At least I know one that does, he's over there. But if there's one thing that Elgin can count on, it's everybody's commitment to the district, to the city, and to the citizens. Through our partnership with the chamber, Western Days was a huge success. These three gentlemen right here and the young lady next to them, who was one of our PTA volunteers, spent the morning of Saturday of Western Days out there helping with the parade, greeting people, getting people where they need to go in the heat, and didn't complain about anything. Without them, we couldn't have gotten it done, and we're truly thankful. So, gentlemen, I'll ask you to come up by. And this is Miss Teresa White, our knighted PTA president, that's coming here behind him.
And I'll add to that. It was such a success, and it being on the executive board for the Chamber of Commerce, and we've had some turnover at the chamber level, and it was just a real need in our community. And so the district volunteered to take on the parade this year. And so we helped with the organization of the parade and getting everything in line and signed in. And it's quite an undertaking to do the parade. Some of you may understand that. But these guys were super helpful. And we had so many parents, some teachers, people from many campuses. Sure. It was amazing. It was really great. It was such a good turnout. We had more volunteers in there helping, representing the school district than we even had issues for them to help with. So, and the guys ran back and forth and got everybody in line in the order they were supposed to be in. And it was just a joyful day and lots of participation. So, and thank you, Al, for your organization of that effort as well. So thank you guys so much for your help.
Those are recent graduates, by the way. At this time, I'll ask Ms. Howell to come on up for our second and last recognition.
Hi, so I'm Ms. Howell. I'm the Education and Training and Taffy sponsor at the high school. This summer, we had a student compete at nationals, the Educators Rising National Conference. Madison Wool, she's not here at the moment, but she is coming. But she did a wonderful job competing and representing Elgin against 57 students that were in the same competition as she did. She competed in interactive bulletin board competition, and as you can see in the pictures, she created a Donut You Love Fractions bulletin board to help students understand and work with fractions. And it was a really neat competition that design that she came up with. So we're super proud of her. So when she comes in, I'll kind of point her to you also.
Okay, thank you.
So thank you.
We just made it. Proud of them.
Thank you. Next we'll have the superintendent report.
Right. So things were a little slower in the summer, but we did have summer school going on while we finished up and wrapped up another successful summer school year. Several EHS students were able to make up needed credits, while our elementary student learning was extended beyond the classroom through engaging field experiences, including a visit to the Thinkery, where they explored science concepts using all 5 senses. And lots of kids participating. We had so many, and it was really a great summer with lots of opportunities for them. Also, we have the Elgin Public Library and Book Bus partnering with elementary summer school to provide students with books, and emergent bilingual students received English language instruction, which supported growth in listening, speaking, reading, writing in English. So that was a real help, and we are always so appreciative of our library partners to provide those books to our kids. The high school averaged 319 participants and awarded 152 credits. Our high school kids do come, and yes, it is worth definite clap and applause. We've had more high school participants than I think that we've ever had. Am I right, high school folks right there? Yes, so it was huge. And thank you all for your hard work with that, making that happen. 7 students also became graduation eligible due to their hard work this summer. And so we are going to honor them at summer graduation on July 31st at 6 p.m. at the cafeteria at Elgin High School. And we look forward to that as a great celebration of some kiddos who've worked really hard to get there. And so thank you for your work with that. So it's time to start talking about back to school, start of school events. We have the summer graduation. We have August 1st Wildcat Academy, which is all of our new to district staff. Our new to district teachers in particular then receive additional training and professional learning to get ready for that school year for welcoming our students back. Our convocation will be August the 8th, which is Friday morning, and we are having that in the Bastrop ISD auditorium, because our auditorium isn't quite ready enough with all of the inspections and all of the things, and we just were really hoping to get it across the line, but we're not quite ready to host convocation there yet. Next year for sure, Mr. Vega. Next year for sure. We've already said that we're planning on doing, when we get back in January, we're going to do a big kickoff thing when we come back from the holidays with all the staff there and do kind of a convocation in our new auditorium. Okay, then Meet the Wildcats. Guys, this is such a big event. That is also August the 8th, 6 p.m. in the Elgin High School gym. We moved it in last year because it had been so hot. And so we're having it indoors. We'll have band and cheer and Purple Diamonds and all of the amazing things, Booster Club, and then meeting the Wildcats. It's always one of my very favorite events of the school year because it's really kind of kicking it off and making it real that here we go and we're starting supporting with sports and extracurricular for our kids. That's always a lot of fun. Chamber of Commerce also helps with that as well. And then on August the 14th is Stuff the Bus, and I don't know exactly, is that it? Do we know? Is it Millie's again? No? We probably need to confirm where that is. But anyway, Stuff the Bus, we'll be sending out more in social media exactly where that's going to be. But that's where people can bring items of school supplies to donate, and we stuff the bus, and then those items are donated and delivered to campuses for our students. All right. And some other events, Meet the Teacher Nights. We have Phoenix High School, August the 4th, the middle school, August the 5th, intermediate school, August the 6th, high school, August the 7th. And for secondaries, that's when they get their schedules and information about the new school year and find out who their teachers are. And then elementary is August the 11th, and all elementaries have it on the same evening. So another very exciting and fun night when we actually have our teachers get to see their students for the first time for the school year. So looking forward to those dates. Thank you. And that's all.
All right, thank you. All right, as far as the president's report, just a couple of things I think it's good for us to be reminded of as we begin a new year. Last year, many of us served on different committees. That opportunity is coming up again, and so we will send you out a list of opportunities if you want to serve on the same committee, or maybe you want to do a different committee. We encourage you to do that, so we're going to send that out for the board members to choose. Also, we have a board operating procedure document. That's a living and breathing document prescribed by the board. And so this will give us a good opportunity for each of us to kind of look over that. And later on, maybe next month, we'll have an in-depth workshop to talk about that document, because it speaks to communication and information. And we know that some of us require more information than others. There's nothing wrong with that. But we just want to make sure that everyone is following the same process so that everybody's on the same page. And so we have those documents. You all can look those over. Then we will come back together. We have questions we can talk about, maybe what works, what doesn't, if we want to change something. But that's, strictly something that's done by the board. We'll have some expertise to help us along with that process as well. And so I just kind of want to put that on everyone's mind that we'll be doing that.
What's the date for that?
We haven't set the date yet. That information will be forthcoming. We'll get that to you. Thank you. Any other questions? All right, next item, we will move to the consent agenda. We have several items there. There were several that was concerned about some contractual items. Dr. Ritter, do you want to sort of address some of those before we go through that whole list?
So on consent agenda number 4, approving purchases greater than $50,000. We have several listed here that are contracted services for our special education department. Now, these are all that are coming up for, it's not approval of the actual program or the contract itself, because those were already procured through an RFP or request for proposal in 2023 and approved by the board at that time. So every year when we look at those again, it is merely approving the amounts of the over $50,000. That's all approved by the school board. But some of the questions obviously are, why do we have to use contracted services for SPED services? And these are for like speech and language pathologists. They are for other therapists, folks that come in from outside of the district and work with our students who have individual education plans through special education to meet the needs by law that they must have as part of their educational program. We don't want to have to use outside contracted services, but these are all for positions that we have posted in the school district that we keep posted pretty much year round, because we would love to be able to hire them and have our own. And unfortunately, we do not get applicants for those anymore. And really since COVID is when I would say that it all changed. We've recovered a lot. We have lots of teachers who've come back into the profession, but a lot of these contracted services folks who started working with these outside companies, they have more flexibility maybe in their job and in the requirements of what they're doing, and they just would prefer to work with those contracted services rather than come back and work in school districts. So although we continue to We pay very, very well. We pay, offer even above market value for those positions. We just don't attract and we don't have and this is across the state of Texas. I can ask Dr. Hittman to speak a little bit about that as well.
Yes, just a couple of additional things I want to point out. As Dr. Ritter stated, our preference would be not to use these contracted services. However, we're about to start school and we've got students coming who we're required to provide these services for and who we want to make sure they're getting what they need. And so these contracts allow us to have these positions in place when school starts. I did speak with Ashton Booth, our SPED director. We speak all the time, but we talked specifically about this yet again. They check every morning for applicants. And in the event that they have had an applicant, they get that person in within 48 hours to bring them in about interviewing and hiring them. One of the great things about these particular contracts is that we have a 30-day, we only have to give them a 30-day notice if we no longer need a particular contracted service. So that means if we find a speech pathologist in October that we can hire, we hire them, and then we no longer will be expending that money to the contracted service because we would have our own employee. So we will continue to look for folks to fill those positions throughout the school year. This will, in the meantime, ensure that our students are receiving their services.
Another area that we had a question about was with consent agenda G item J, armed security. And I'm going to ask Ms. Cornelius to speak to this a little bit as well. But our armed security guard services that were awarded back on September 18th of 2023, that is when the contract was actually approved. And that was a third renewal of a 5-year bid to go with Texas Public Safety and Investigations, TPSI. And since it's a purchase greater than $50,000, we then bring forward annually the approval from the board, not to approve the contract, but to approve the expenditure over $50,000, because every year it increases a little because we've added schools, or we've added buildings, we have more kids. So when we have those contracts, we bring these forward and they go under consent agenda because it's not that you're approving the program itself or the contract itself. It will come up for approval process again after the 5 years. In the meantime, we work with Texas Public Safety and Investigations, TPSI, and then this is the amount that we contract with. And Ms. Cornelius can speak a little bit more specifically about what they provide to us as a district.
So before you speak about this, Ms. Cornelius, I'd like to know, in the event that the company is not holding up their part of the bargain, do we not have a 30-day ability to release them under contract?
I would have to look further at the contract. I don't know the answer to that specifically, but I do have, if we have an issue with a particular officer, then I have had them released if we have issues. So we're in constant contact with TXPSI and their officers. And so in the event that there is a situation that causes us alarm, I certainly contact them and we have conversations about that. So I know one of the things that you may notice is sometimes they're different. And so just as we have staffing issues, they have staffing issues as well. One of the perks of having contracting with this service is that because through House Bill 3, we are required to have an armed officer on campus all the time, regardless of absences, regardless of whatever's happening. And so they cover that. They make sure that someone is there to keep us in compliance and most importantly, to keep us safe. So we have the conversations regularly, though, if there's an issue. I talk to the principals regularly about the officer on their campus to determine whether or not we need to make some changes or have some conversations to ensure that they're providing the best service.
Thank you. I have a question. So in terms of that turnover, do we have an idea of what that looks like? Are they constantly turning over officers? Are they pretty good about maintaining that stability?
I will say, since this last year was better, and so we started that first year, and it was tough. Turnover was higher. We were also still trying to hire to see, whether or not we would be able to fill positions, we were still working out how we were gonna fulfill House Bill 3, whether or not we were gonna start our own police department or contract with different services. And so it wasn't as consistent. But I will say last year was much more consistent school year in terms of the services that they provided. Now, sometimes the turnover is in certain positions, particularly like the high school. You have to find the right person and the right fit to be there and serve. But for the most part, I would say at the elementary campuses, we were trying to be as consistent as possible. I will say that every time there's a change, we have the conversation. Like, I'm aware that something is going on, or an applicant perhaps, or someone who they had assigned decided to go work someplace else. I am made aware of that when it's happening.
Yeah, the question that I have is that we have a lot of extracurricular activities that occur in our district. And there is a budget that calls for overtime usage. I believe it's 10% above the fixed amount.
For the TXPSI workers contract. And so with that contract, the overtime is included. So for every officer, we get an extra 10 hours of overtime. So in fact, they work 50 hours for us, or they can a week instead of 40. And so that helps us when we need coverage at athletic events, which you'll see that we have an officer at every athletic event that we have in the district. So that helps with that. That helps cover it so we don't have to pay that additional overtime charge. So in the past, if you contract with a police officer or with SROs or even our local department, it costs a lot more money than what they're charging us to have coverage at the.
So what you're saying, if they work overtime, that's included in their regular pay?
Yes, the extra 10 hours is included in their regular pay.
Yeah, so that's built into the budget.
Yes,
Because it was unclear when I was reading it, whether that was extra pay or part of the pay. And that was the question.
so it becomes extra when it's over that allotted 10 hours for that particular employee.
But part of the extracurricular, and this is a question that arises from that, do we use other staffing to cover those events? Like at football games, we may have one or two of the security people, but we also see some of the well,
Yes, so you may see some Elgin Police Department.
Yeah.
EPD may be out there as well.
do they charge us for that?
Yes, indeed. Yes,
So there is extra pay that we have to pay
yes, sir.
outside the
The one question I had, have we had any luck with hiring any of our own security officers lately or not?
We haven't, we have one, we have our officer Salta Longo sitting there at the back, who is ours retired APD, officer, but no. And the reason being is we want for them to come in already trained with the skills and with the requirements that they need, in order to serve on our campuses. And we just haven't had people who came in with that level of expertise yet.
now this is our third year, right? So we got 2 more years to go after this?
Yes, sir.
Unless we start the RFP process early.
Yes.
And did we not start that process? It was probably before you came, Bridget, and probably came before the superintendent came, but and we did a program, start the program before to start our own police department. Laura, do you remember that?
A conversation about it after the law was passed, and Bridget was here for that. It was.
No, I mean, prior to that. Thinking that we had gone through
Use the SROs. And if we mentioned the police department, it was very briefly because we felt like we were not ready at that time.
Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna read the agenda, and then if you have any other questions about any items, you can ask at that time. So, we're being asked to approve tax report refunds and adjustments for June 2025, approve financial statements for June 2025, approve investment report for June 2025, approve purchases greater than $50,000, which includes Candor Consulting and Diagnostics, Emergence, Every Voice, National Recruiting Consultants, Sunbelt, Soliant, AT&T backup internet connection, Spectrum digital phone lines, approval Proposition A athletic facility improvements, competitive sale proposal, CSP 2026-01, armed security, communities and schools of Central Texas, NWEA map, and then finally furniture, fixtures, and equipment for the Performing Arts Center from Windsor. Those make up the consent agenda. I think. Any other questions as it relates to the consent agenda?
So is G, H, and I part of the bond? Under the consent agenda? Items G, H, and I?
The approval for Proposition A athletic facilities improvements. Yes, that is bond. It's the athletic facilities improvements that we're doing at the football stadium, the press box, and the baseball and softball and tennis facilities approved through bond. The AT&T backup internet connection, Mr. Page, is that a bond project funded? Or the Spectrum digital phone lines? Phone lines are not bond. No. And the internet connection, that's not bond. Do you need more information? Okay.
Is that the part where the other schools were brought up to the same as our Trinity and Harvest Ridge, are the same as our new schools? All the other schools were, the phone lines and everything were brought up to par?
So we talking about the phone lines or the backup internet? Just to make sure. Okay. So the backup internet, we have a district-wide internet connection, which covers all campuses. So all campuses come back to our data center, be there by fiber or microwave antenna. And then we have basically a 10 gig connection out. The G is an AT&T backup internet connection at 5 gig. And that was in my budget that I had adjusted this year, which I did not raise my budget. I just moved things around. To your question about phone lines, what the Spectrum digital phone lines will do is replace our antiquated analog AT&T phone service. And that actually will cut costs in the process. We'll actually get much better service, digital, redundant paths in from Spectrum, and actually save roughly, it's a guess right now, but roughly about 30% on our phone bill. So district-wide.
And you read it just now, you didn't read those last 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, just making sure. Thank you.
Oh, and I have a question you said about furniture, fixtures, and equipment for the Performing Arts Center.
Right, is that also bond?
That's bond for the auditorium.
I just have one other question. The national recruiting consultant firm that we're using, how long have we been using them?
Ashton Booth is probably our best person to speak to that. She is saying 2 years is the message I'm getting from the audience.
Okay.
So that's one of these special ed, one of those that I'm talking about, that with contracted service for special education. So if you have a specific question about that particular one.
We use that specific service to find the other services that we need. Is that what we're using them for, or no?
The specifics of it. I need to answer.
Hello, I'm Ashton Booth. I'm the Director of Special Ed. We use national recruiting for recruiting any of our services that we need. We specifically have speech therapy through national recruiting at this time.
So currently we serve 963 students.
In special ed overall, district-wide. Not necessarily just for speech, just overall in the program. That's what we ended the year with.
Could you just kind of give me a rough estimate of what that equates to per campus?
It really depends on the campus. Our highest Our highest elementary was Harvest Ridge Elementary, but it really depends on the growth. Our highest secondary campus was high school, just with the 4 different grade levels.
And so we are talking about things other than just speech then.
For overall, with all the contracts, yes, national recruiting is just for speech therapy though.
Okay. I guess I'm asking that because the write-up for each one of them stated the same 963 students. And that was last year's estimate, correct?
That's the end of what we ended the year with, yes.
Okay, so do we know how many of those students we will possibly have this year? I mean, so we did it on that same number that we had.
Well, we have already increased. Just today, we had about 3 enroll. So I would expect that number to be higher when we begin the year.
Okay, provided that all of them return.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
I make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Motion by Mr. Moss,
Second.
second by Mrs. Waltershine to approve the consent agenda. Any questions? All in favor of said motion, please respond by aye.
Aye.
Any opposers? Motion passes 6-1. Thank you. Next, we're being asked for consideration and possible approval of an interlocal agreement with the city of Elgin regarding county line road improvements.
Okay.
So Patrick was correct.
He was
Let's get that out of the way, because I know he gonna.
Yeah.
So,
I'd like that to be marked
Apologize.
for the record.
Sorry.
Put that in the record, please.
okay, so then we will need an amended motion to include items 5, 6, where it talks about approve updated hazardous transportation routes for 25-26 school year. 7, consideration and possible approval of administrator external contract work per House Bill 3372. And number 8, second reading and adoption of local policy update 125. So we need a motion for that amendment, please, sir.
I make a motion that we amend and add 5, 6, 7, and 8 to the consent agenda.
Motion by Mr. Barnes,
Second.
second by Mrs. Waltershine to add those amendments. Again, any questions? All in favor, please respond by aye. Opposers? 1. Motion passes 6-1. Thank you. All right, next information item. Update on construction projects, including the 2021 and 2024 bonds. Mr. Rainey?
Good evening, President Mitchell, Board of Trustees, Dr. Ritter. I got a full presentation tonight, so excited to present these slides this evening. As you know, the summer is typically our busiest time for construction. This photo is a little bit of a throwback, but as we wrap up a lot of the construction on the high school, I wanted to put this up there. This is exactly 2 years ago. Just to show you guys what the high school looked like 2 years ago as a reminder. It looked a little bit different. Right now, we sit about 130,000 square feet larger on the high school site than we did roughly 2 years ago. We've got about 50 more classrooms, and certainly looking at this, you can tell the difference. We don't have, of course, the auditorium, the multi-purpose facility, the 2-story classroom wing, CTE addition. And so just a quick little reminder of all the work that our contractors and our design team, our curriculum folks, they put in a lot of effort, a lot of meetings, helping our designers get through all that planning effort over the past 2 years. So as these projects wrap up, it's just a good thought to look back and see where we came from in the past 2 years. But it's also going to be a busy next 5 months. We've got projects to be awarded each month until we get to December. So as we'll see as we go through the agenda, we've got that going, and appreciate the award on the athletics project. That'll be a nice addition to the high school as well. Jumping right in, we do have the auditorium project that is coming to a close. As Dr. Ritter said, we're just going to miss the completion date to host convocation, but we are right there at the cusp of completion. We've got furniture delivery scheduled for this coming Monday. So we'll have folks moving in Monday with a couple of different furniture vendors. We're doing our final punch list walks with the contractor. As you can see there on the bottom right, landscaping is completed. We've got display cases in, just awaiting those art pieces with Allison Keller and her team being able to get a final look in there soon so they can start getting an idea of what they want to put in those. Overall, this is going to be a really beautiful showcase for the Elgin ISD community and for the district itself. 1,200 seats, so it'll be a nice space for our district, and then any events that we want to host. Trinity Ranch Elementary, Dr. Martinez has had the opportunity to be on this campus now for a few weeks. He's got a few of his office staff in there. We've even had a few teachers in there getting comfortable, so it's really begun to take shape. All of our furniture has moved in. This is a facility that we're working through punch list as well. So with all of our contractors still finishing out the things, we're nearing final completion. We've got a ribbon cutting date that we'll be pushing out just in the next couple of days, but we're excited about getting folks into this area as well. Of course, this mirrors Harvest Ridge Elementary. We want to get folks in there and get you guys to take a look at this place too. But that library looks really nice. They're inviting for students, but as you can see there, all of those classrooms and the break room and that GT classroom, all of those just turned out to be really nice spaces. And we're excited to be opening this place up just in the next couple of weeks. Transportation facility across town. This is a project that we've talked about for a couple of years. It had some delays to it, and we had to resite this. So we moved it to a different location, but we are finally off the ground. We're finally started. These pictures are a couple of weeks old now, or 10 days old or so. So if you drive by FM 1100 out past Nidec, you'll see a construction entrance, a job trailer. The site looks different than this already, but you can see rough grading going on here. The detention pond is already dug, and that bottom right, everybody knows the rain we've had over the past few weeks. So that detention pond ended up being kind of a duck pond for a few days. It was full, but the site did dry out this past week, and our large machinery got back to work, and they've really made a good progress on the back lot where all the buses will go in. We've got our soil injection team underway, and they've made fast work of that. So we'll see concrete being poured over the next couple of weeks. It's a lot of the site work moving really quickly. So we've seen some fast progress on that, and excited to see that finally getting underway. You'll also see an invitation for a groundbreaking event coming out very soon for this. Priority maintenance projects, what we would say is some of the smaller projects, but also very important district-wide security upgrades. We are seeing some of the punch list work continue on this, as this project is really substantially complete. This was almost a 2-year effort to upgrade all of our security across the district. As our burglar alarms, our access control, our badge access, our cards across the district, really every facility, not just school campuses, but all of our auxiliary sites as well. And then of course our fiber optic upgrade. This is to get a hard line from Technology Center to Booker T. Washington and Trinity Ranch. Both of those campuses are operating right now with fiber. We want to get a hard line to those sites. This is about 3.5 miles of fiber cabling across town. So it's quite a long run. We do have a good start on that right now. They've got the underground work mostly completed. Even since I put this slide deck together, most of the underground work has been completed as we go up Swenson Boulevard to the Trinity Ranch route, and then some conduit installation has been installed there at the Booker T. Washington route, and they've put their pole attachments in place from our technology building on the way to Booker T. Washington. And right now we're coordinating with TxDOT. We have an aerial crossing at TxDOT at the 290 with TxDOT to get over to Trinity Ranch, and that may slow us down a little bit, but right now we do have an aerial or a wireless connection to Trinity Ranch that we may have to use in the meantime. Some of the other summer projects that we're working on is flooring replacements at Niding, Elgin Elementary and the high school, just to replace some flooring that was wearing pretty heavily. And then water heater and boiler replacements at Niding and the high school. Some roofing repairs at BTW, window coverings at Elgin Elementary in the classrooms. A lot of the instructional staff and the teachers have put paper and things over the windows the past few years. So we'll get some nice roller shades in there so they can block out the light when necessary. And then an art room sink installation. They've had to be creative, I'll say, in that art room in Elgin Elementary. So we'll get them a functioning sink back in their art room in the next couple of weeks. Also HVAC installations across the district, installations and replacements. This is just a few pictures of their work. A lot of these projects are winding down. We've had some cranes setting units on the roof at Elgin Intermediate, Marker T. Washington, the high school. So a lot of these units, as I said, were on the roof, but a lot of them are also in the ceiling. So a lot of these campuses have seen some heavy construction, ceilings taken down and now being put back up. So our goal is for what we'll call substantial completion to be by July 31st, meaning that most of these AC units will be running. We may have to have some what we'll call test and balance and commissioning folks come back in the first week of August. But for the most part, all of these units should be running by the end of July when the new teachers come back. Serving lines, this is kitchen work at the middle school and at Elgin Elementary. This really run about the same schedule. Our goal is to have a substantial completion by July 31st or about the 1st of August. And there may be a little bit of final work done into that first week of August. But this project is also going pretty well. Maybe a little bit delay on the overhead doors there at middle school. But we've worked with Elizabeth in child nutrition, made her aware of that, and also talked to Bobby Joe Truehill about that slight delay. But overall, we don't think it'll be a large hurdle for the campus, and the overall result for both campuses will be really nice kitchen and serving line for the students and staff there. Jumping to the 24 bond, middle school number 2. A couple of images here on what we expect the interior of that building could look like there with the entry vestibule coming in, and then one of the teacher planning or conference rooms for that facility. But overall, we're at 100% construction documents, meaning that we'll have a full set of bid documents by the end of this month. We do have an early set of documents for site work out now with our general contractor. This is a construction manager at risk project with Bartlett Cott Construction. That's a firm that we selected with a request for qualifications process several months back. So they're working on GMP 1, that's guaranteed maximum price number 1. We're planning to bring that back to the board in August. That'll be for site work and utilities. And then with this 100% construction documents, that will go out to bid subsequently, and then we'll bring the guaranteed maximum price number 2 back to the board in September. So next few months, we'll see bids coming back for consideration, put those in front of the board and get this project awarded. Since I put this slide deck together, Bastrop County has approved our site development permit. Here it just says it was submitted, but they did approve our site development permit last week. So that was a big hurdle for us. We can move forward with moving dirt work and site work. So that's good. And then overall, our completion is set for June 2027. So I think if we can go ahead and get started this fall, we'll be able to wrap up by June 27. Backing up just a little bit, I will, over the next couple of months, I'll probably send in the weekly some selections for names. Obviously, middle school number 2 is not going to stick forever. So we want to get some names in front of you guys. There's board policy for selecting names for facilities. So I'll send that along with some options for names. There's a couple of geographical references on the 140-acre site that'll be good landmarks to consider, but we'll send some options for the board to consider and weigh in on over the next couple of months. Athletic improvements. This is the project that was on consent agenda. Thank you for approval on this. This is a project that'll be very exciting for the high school. This will convert both fields to artificial turf, just allow us really to get on those fields in inclement weather right now when it rains. We were fortunately with the multi-purpose facility. The coaching staff is able to move some of those kids indoors, but historically during the wet weather, our baseball and softball kiddos were just out of luck for a little while as those fields haven't drained very well. But putting artificial turf on here will really help. And then creating 4 more tennis courts will allow us to host our own meets. With only 4 courts existing, we haven't been able to host our own meets. So both of those will be a nice addition. And then there's some supplemental things also, bleachers and canopy, new scoreboards, just some concrete flat work, things like that. 7 bids on this. Pricing came in very competitively. So we think we'll be able to take all of the alternates that were priced on this project. Ideally, this project would start almost immediately. We've got a site development permit already in with the city. And then the goal will be to wrap up before baseball and softball start this coming January. Also out there at the stadium, separate project, separate proposition, but also as part of the 2024 bond, we've got what we're calling Studio E. It's a press box expansion, but it'll be full-time CTE classrooms, as you can see there in the bottom right. That'll be an example of one of the classroom spaces. We had to trim this down a little bit from an earlier rendition that we saw. We're down to 7,350 square feet. Budget is always a concern on these projects, so we have trimmed this down, but we've maintained all of the really all of the critical spaces in this project that we talked about with all of our stakeholders and the team. Broadcast, film studio, AV production, podcast rooms, all of those areas are still in the project. New video, scoreboard and sound system for the stadium, all of that will remain in there. We're looking to get 100% construction documents by the end of this month. We had to revise it a little bit, again, due to that, to reduce square footage. What we're planning to do is go ahead and bid this out and get a GMP back to the board this fall. And then the contractor would plan to come in and start construction once football season is over. So they may go ahead and get their contract out, get their subcontractors on board. And then once our football season is over, we would try to mobilize them immediately. They would start working through the winter, through, the spring season. So we may impact our home side for soccer and track. We would have to move some of those fans over to the visitor side. But then we want to be ready to go by football season 2026. So we'll work with our athletic department, all of our finance folks that use the field to move some of those activities over to the visitor side during that time. But the goal would be to have this facility ready for football season 2026. Yes, sir.
I know some football states have one of the games. We have one of the games scheduled for the old high school field, this one right here.
Mm-hmm.
Is that correct?
I'd be honest, I would have to ask Coach Mr. Anderson. I couldn't tell you.
Yeah. And the reason I ask is probably because I'll be in the middle of the work that needs to be done.
This should not impact.
It wasn't, I thought the same thing when I saw that.
Mhm.
But it honestly is, because we're playing, I think it's Lockhart, right? Coach Staples in the back. It's a scrimmage against Lockhart, and Elgin decided to make this be kind of a cool event, kind of back to tradition
Sure.
and playing the old stadium. And so it's kind of a
Vintage bowl.
a vintage bowl,
Yeah, it's-
a vintage scrimmage.
Yeah.
So that's what it is, because I wondered the same thing, that is it because of impact to the high school site, but it's
Yeah.
not.
So
Yeah, I
this
knew it
football
was a scrimmage game, but
Yeah.
I was wondering why it was moved. And I thought it was tying into.
No, sir. This project should have no impact on this fall football season. No, sir. We've worked to avoid that. So we won't see any site construction until football is over this year. Yeah. We may do, contractually, we do paperwork with the vendors in the background, maybe order materials, those types of things. But as far as mobilizing on the site, we won't do anything to impact football this season. One other project, potentially new to some of you. This is what we're calling the homestead. I think it sounds better than the brewery site. This was the former Circle Brewery. Most of you know the district purchased the former, that's a mouthful, Circle Brewery a year or two ago. With this site, our concept there is to have a multi-phase project to get CTE and culinary arts into that building. This is a really unique and interesting facility. We've had some sessions with one of the architects that we work with and had them come out and take a look at it. And they've got some ideas. Our CTE and our administration has some ideas to create a culinary space there. You know, the adjacency to the Mary Christian Burleson homestead facility just off of that 22 acres that the district owns, really, we think it would really pay homage to that little 1 acre homestead site. So right now, that's kind of the name we've put on it just for now. It's certainly nothing formal, but that may be something we want to consider in the future. But the idea here is to get a quick schedule together with a construction manager at risk and try to get under construction by December of this year and do about an 8-month construction schedule and have kiddos in there by August of 2026. And really, this would be a one classroom facility in the bottom floor of that, what used to be the production area where they used to brew the beer and make the beer. We've early on in the process, after we purchased that facility, we auctioned off all those materials. So it's really just a shell in there now. But we think that would retrofit really well for culinary arts and CTE. So exciting there. Not bond funded, but still construction. DAP portables just south of us here. Those are still moving along well. Interior build out is underway. They've got the roads are still blocked, unfortunately. Paving was scheduled, but then with all the rain, that did get delayed a little bit. We do already have the fiber ran to, or the route ran to Elgin Elementary. The fiber conduit is there. On track, I would say, to complete early August, with the exception of Encore, which not throwing shade at Encore, but they often end up being a little bit of an impediment. But we're still working with them to get the meter set. So all of our meter rack, our electrical is in place. We just really need those guys to set the meter. So that might be the holdup. But the good thing is DAP, they have a home right now at the high school. So if we get a little bit delayed, we've already talked to Dr. Rodman, and we have a plan B, we'll call it, to keep those students where they're at for now. But in the meantime, we'll keep moving forward with as much as we can. Any final question?
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
And this came up in the forum Saturday with the city council. The light at 290 and Trinity Ranch, you know, that road that goes in, I guess TxDOT is not wanting to put that in quickly, but I'm concerned about the traffic when school starts, the bus traffic there at 290 at that light. If we can use that, I don't know, at one time we're going to be able to use that entrance. So I guess I'm curious as to how you're going to work that traffic there.
So well, I'll speak to the light first. We have heard that the light has been funded by TxDOT, but it is, to your point, it's not scheduled until to be bid out until next summer. So we're still, I think, approximately a year out. That's the information we have from TxDOT and Bastrop County. So for this year, we would have to work with Ms. Cornelius in transportation to figure out what that looks like for our buses. There, I think probably a left turn out of there is probably not going to be an option. A right turn may be, but I think we would have to have that conversation to see what that looks like, or do we, move our buses elsewhere?
Yeah, we're looking at routing right now as we speak, but we already have students, a lot of students coming from Trinity Ranch to go to Elgin Elementary School. Correct? Say that right? So we do not turn left out of there as it is right now. It's not a safe route. So they go through the back and around, and we just have to route a different way. And that's what we're going to have to do next school year. And it's because we can't really control that timeline, obviously, but we're still putting pressure on them and hoping to. And we also have help with our commissioner, David Glass, who's helping to try to move that faster. We just know that that's what we've been told as far as timeline goes.
So you all are kind of on that, because I'm thinking of when Harvest Ridge opened and there was that big traffic problem. Yeah. But, I just, because there's only one way that would probably be safe, and that's to go out on Upper Elgin River Road.
Right.
I mean, that's still.
Yeah.
That's not really good.
It is, and we have been in constant communication with the city of Elgin, with Commissioner Glass, with TxDOT. You know, I think it's a joint effort, and everybody has, and even the developers themselves in Trinity Ranch, about that issue of Swenson and Upper Elgin River Road being really the two, you know, incoming streets, and knowing that both of those have challenges right now.
Yeah.
And the timeline on expansion for both of those roadways is something we've talked about multiple times.
Okay, just be on top of it.
Yes, ma'am.
I know you will. Thanks.
Thank you, sir. All right, next item, priority 4, the 4.1 compensation plan. Mr. Mark,
So I do have a quick request based on conversation in the workshop. I need 60 seconds to swap out a slide, and then we'll continue if that is
Yes, sir.
acceptable.
Yes, sir.
Recognition. Yeah. Recognition. So Al, could you go ahead and, oh, Ashton. I'll come forward and. All right, so we have Madison here, and somebody, let's give another, like just a refresh of what she's being recognized for. Go ahead. Yes, thank you.
Okay, this is Madison Wool, and she competed at the Educators Rising National Conference this summer in Orlando, Florida. So I'm super proud of her.
Thank you. Now we know we have a future teacher coming back to us in a few years to teach in Elgin ISD.
We good? Okay. All right. Good evening, Mr. President, board members, Dr. Ritter. I'm Clark Motley, Elgin ISD's Chief Financial Officer. And I'm very pleased to bring a recommendation for a compensation plan for you guys to approve this evening. So many considerations went into the development of the 25-26 compensation plan. House Bill 2 and other legislative decisions significantly impacted the actions we are proposing, as well as the timeline for proposal. While there are still factors to be considered, we are pleased to bring this information to you all today for discussion and approval. Tonight, we are approving the compensation plan, not the amended budget. As you know, we did approve a budget in June. This is for the compensation plan, and that amended budget will come to you guys in August. So some of the considerations we took in was House Bill 2 ruling interpretations, the impact on current compensation plan in relation to all non-teaching employment categories, the state of public education finance right now, how employee compensation impacts the students of Elgin ISD through the recruitment and retention of faculty and staff, the overall competitiveness of our compensation plan in relation to districts in our area and around the state, and the overall impact on Elgin ISD's current budget, as well as future impact to the district's financial position, and some TASB salary study guidance on some of the recommendations as well. So this next slide is our recommendation to you guys. This is the Elgin ISD compensation plan for 25-26. It includes the House Bill 2 teacher raises, adjusted increases for years 1 and year 2 teachers, as well as a 3% of midpoint increase for all other staff. You can see these numbers are reflected in the chart before you. The teachers are broken out differently because it is a set amount to the teachers for the House Bill 2 increases, and then the all other employees with the 3% of midpoint pay increase. That's going to be dependent on the pay category that they're in. Questions or discussion?
I'll let you.
You have questions, Reese?
Nobody heard that. Any case, I was under the impression that we said 3% across the board and not from the midpoint.
I think the clarification was when we said across the board, I think include the 1 and 2 year teachers.
That was the clarification that
Right.
was made, was to ensure that that was at the 3% level that the others are. So for the teachers, that is from their pay from last year to this year, a 3% increase, not at midpoint. For the other employees, that does come from a midpoint as they're on a different pay scale.
Mm. Okay. Just wanted to clarify.
You got it, no problem.
Any other questions from the other board members? And just for clarification, we did discuss this in depth workshop prior to this evening, so.
Yes, sir.
All right, so
Oh, and I think we should also make a clarification that there was a recommendation that we give a 4% increase. And we worked through that. So just wanted to make sure that that clarification was there. 4% increase across the board, an additional 2%. I know that wasn't in there, but I thought I would go ahead and throw that in there. An additional 2% to match what the ledger was going to give.
that was a recommendation by Mrs. Reese. But the majority of the board, some 3%. All right, thank you. So next item, we'll ask consideration and possible approval for the 25-26 compensation plan. So we're asking the board to approve that plan.
I so move.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Mars, second by Mrs. Waltershine to approve the compensation plan. And just for clarification, it was Plan 2, which was a 3%. All right, any other questions? All in favor, said motion, respond by aye. Raise your hand. Any opposers? Motion passes 7-0. Thank you. Right. 8:09 PM. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Yes, sir.
Motion by Mr. Moss. Will second it?
I'll second it too.
Oh, no, you said different. I'll second it. Any other questions? All in favor, said motion, respond by aye. Any opposers? Motion passes 7-0. It is 8:09 PM and we are adjourned.